Yo, what's going on everybody? Chadley here, and today we have the update for our Flak Nukem build, and personally, this is my favorite Flak build, and is definitely my best one that I've ever made. You can do anything. Hopefully you guys saw in that opening montage how fast you can kill things. You can one-shot stuff on Mayhem 4 with no overkill, no kill skills. You can just one-shot Graveward. It's a little nuts. Also, this build there's no gear dependency in this build. The guns that I have on right now are just ones I like using. Basically, there's only a couple of requirements. One, the Gamma Burst Anointment helps significantly. Two, you have a Red Fang class mod. And three, you have a Hunter Seeker. Those are literally like the only three things you need. Otherwise, so the guns I have equipped, those are just the ones I like best. All of these other weapons in here can kill basically any boss incredibly fast. You're gonna have success with them. They all just have the Gamma Burst Anointment for the most part, and that's seriously all you need. So that's another thing I really like about this build. You don't need to get, the perfect anointment on some perfect redistributor or something like that. I happen to have a good one that I like to use. It definitely helps, but you don't need it. So with all of these weapons, I'm going to offer alternatives, and especially if you guys don't have the DLC, I will offer alternatives for that as well. But like always, we built this over on stream, so if you want to come check that out in the future, definitely come stop by. It's a good time. We've been having a ton of fun lately. But otherwise, for our first gun, like I said, I like to use the redistributor. I have a Gamma Burst one, Cryo as its element. Now, if I had a radiation one with Gamma Burst, that would be even better, but it's still not necessary. Some other guns you can use if you can't get your hands on a very good redistributor. The Wagon Wheel with Gamma Burst is very good. I've showed that off in the past. A Hyper Focus just melts things. Hopefully you guys saw what it did to Graveward at the start. Also, the Carrier is not a bad option. It spreads out over a large area with its seeking projectiles, and definitely helps you take out a large group of enemies very quickly. Moving on to our second slot, I like to use the Unseen Threat. Now, I am still a Wedding Invitation fan. Personally, in the Takedown, the Wedding Invitation kind of does better in most scenarios, but this Unseen Threat is definitely going to be the way to go in the future, especially with 2.0 coming up with like Mayhem 10 and stuff like that. The Wedding Invitation is definitely going to fall behind because it's going to be stuck at level 53. The Unseen Threat is going to be the future. So definitely get your hands on a good one of these, because this thing just wrecks, like you guys saw, one-shot Graveward. So this is a very good option. If you guys don't have the DLC, I recommend getting the Headsplosion. That is another very good sniper. Or a Firestorm is also another good one. Then for our third gun, the Clairvoyance might be my favorite gun from the new DLC. This thing just does everything. It can boss, it can mob, it seriously does whatever you need. And I have a single shot one that is a Gatling, so it is full auto. I do have a masher version in here, and I always find myself going back to the single shot one. I know a lot of people like the mashers, but I personally don't like the masher. It just it shoots too slow for me, and it's not that great. This one I feel always does a little bit better, but that's completely personal preference. Otherwise, in that slot, you guys can use the Anarchy if you want to get super ridiculous. I just don't find it that fun. This gun is so good with this corrosive one right here. We went through True Takedown and only used this and beat it very quickly with zero issues. Killed Wotan in less than a minute. It's a little dumb. The Shocker's another good one. Lobs are always great choices with Gamma Burst and stuff like that. You can also throw a Hyper Focus in this slot. Basically anything Carrier, Serial Killer. The Ogre actually does fairly well. It uses a good amount of ammo, but it kills things incredibly fast and groups. So those are awesome other options you guys can have for this Clairvoyant slot. And then for the last slot, I do like just use the Scourge for the bridge and stuff like that if I'm trying to go super fast. Definitely not necessary. Clairvoyance and Redistributor definitely do enough crowd control themselves that you don't need it. This is just a little bit faster, so I like to use that. Otherwise, if I'm not using a Scourge, I'll throw on the Hyper Focus or basically any other weapon that I mentioned. But like I said, you guys can seriously use any weapon as long as it really has Gamma Burst. It's going to destroy. I tested all of these on Tront and stuff. It's a little ridiculous. And then for our shield, I like to use the one-shotter since we're not getting shot at all. We're never really losing our shield all that much. So you can take advantage of the full amp. And I know this is very hard to get your hands on. So if you guys can't get your hands on that and you have the new DLC, go with an old god. It's going to give you a bunch of extra damage and it has a much bigger capacity compared to the one-shotter. But I like just using the one-shotter for that extra damage. And then otherwise, if you don't have that either, just like a transformer or something like that is always good. You don't need the extra damage from the shield. That is just completely extra. You're going to be doing enough regardless. So any of those will work. And then for our grenade, like I said, we're going to be using the Hunter Seeker. This has two purposes. One, if you guys are going to be doing Scourge spams, you need the Hunter Seeker for getting ammo back consistently. And then two, when Gamma Burst ends, you guys are going to spam these as you're hip firing your Redistributor, Clairvoyance, something like that. I personally like to use a Clairvoyance the most. The thing is very good at getting your action skill back. But if you combine those two things, your action skill is going to come back in less than 5 seconds. It's super fast. So definitely just do that and it'll help you guys stay alive very easily. Then like I said, we're going to be using a Red Fang. Now, the only skill that you're going to want on the Red Fang is Eager to Impress. That is the green one. You don't want any blues. If you can get 5 Eager to Impress, that's definitely the best. It's going to allow you to get your Gamma Burst back quicker once it's depleted. Otherwise, He Bites and Ferocity do not help you at all. So I'm purely using this for just the Red Fang effect, and I liked the passives on it. Otherwise, just get something with like 5 Eager to Impress or good passives. It does not really matter. You don't need a perfect one. The main point is that it is a Red Fang. Now, finally, our artifact is the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. This is definitely like the best artifact in the game right now. It helps you do a ton of damage. If you guys don't have the DLC, just throw on a Snowdrift Auto Idol or like a Snowdrift Victory Rush, and you'll be good to go. Now, let's go ahead and move over to our skill trees. And not too much has changed since our previous iteration, but otherwise we're going to do 3 points into Leave No Trace, 5 points into Interplanetary Stalker, 5 points into Hunter's Eye, 3 points into Head Count, 5 points into Two Fang, 3 points into Big Game, 3 points into Most Dangerous Game, 1 point into Galactic Shadow, and 1 point into Megavore, as it is still Flak's best skill. And then for our blue tree, 3 points into Persistence Hunter, and then 2 more points into whatever of these you want to do. These do not matter at all. I just threw them into Ferocity. And then 5 points into Frenzy, 1 point into He Bites to proc Frenzy, 4 points into Who Rescued Who to keep your pet alive so you guys don't end up doubling the cooldown on your action skill as much. And then 5 points into Barbaric Yawp for boosting your pet bonuses, 3 points into Pack Tactics, and 1 point into Shared Spirit. Our pet is going to be the Great Horn Skag. Our augments are going to be Empathic Rage and Burst Aid. And finally, with our last 2 points, we're going to do Furious Attack, as this is going to give us the most damage out of just 2 remaining skill points. So we're just going to run through True Takedown here, and for my bonus elements, I like to use Shock and Corrosive as always. And then like I said, we're going to do True Takedown. Our modifiers are basically neutral. It's going to help out our cryo guns a little bit. I had completely neutral before my game crashed, and then I tried re-rolling a bunch of times coming back in, and it wouldn't want to give me anything, and this was the most neutral I could get. So we're just going to have to live with that. But otherwise, I will see you guys on the other side of the gate. So one thing to note with the Unseen Threat is these guys, the extra projectiles, just never hit them. So just keep that in mind. You're going to have to just kill them with the actual initial shot. The ricochets are never going to hit those guys. But otherwise, what you're going to want to do is just throw Gamma Burst on the ground as much as you possibly can when you're doing True Takedown, as things are going to murder you if you do not. And otherwise, just pull out whatever you want to use. Like I said, this is a very flexible build. Whatever guns you guys find fun, use those. Occasionally, like a War Dog or something like that will come and try to kill you. Otherwise, just stay near your Gamma Burst and you will not die. You're just going to sit there. And then right now my Gamma Burst is gone, so I'm going to sit here and just start throwing all of my Hunter Seekers and while I'm shooting enemies, and just like that, we have Gamma Burst back. There is no like respec glitch going on right now. This is truly how fast you can get it back once you start spamming those Hunter Seekers along with shooting enemies. Now, unfortunately, a jetpack guy decided to ruin my day right there, but it doesn't really matter. We're good to go. Occasionally, like, some enemies just won't care about Red Fang a little bit, but most of the time they will just focus on your pet and you're good to go. And we're going to use the Clairvoyance here because this thing is honestly sometimes better than the redistributor at mobbing. With the ricochets and stuff like that, we're just going to spam our Hunter Seekers again, use the Clairvoyance, and we have Gamma Burst back just like that. And we are almost to the Kraken here. I just want to kill this one last guy. And you can go kill Kraken here. So I like to use the Unseen Threat on Kraken. I'm going to do a Fake Burst, throw Gamma Burst down in front of me, and in 1 to 2 shots, Kraken is dead. Alright, we're dropping down to Valkyries, and one thing I wanted to note is that you do Fake Burst in this build, but it's not something you only do. So you will always Fake Burst and then throw Gamma Burst on the ground. If you do not, things are going to mess you up. We are Flak, but once you get those down, you're basically good to go unless some of the shield guys reflect your own pellets back at you like that. You kind of get some health chunked out of you. Then once these guys are good, I like to pull out the Unseen Threat and shoot him with this a couple times, and he goes immune just like that. And then Redistributor for all of the mobs who come down in these waves. And our Gamma Burst is about to run out, so I'm immediately throwing my Hunter Seekers. I kept an eye on that, and just like that, we can have Gamma Burst back, ready to go. So that is why the Hunter Seekers are so important. And then the Unseen Threat is just super good for bossing. I'm going to use the Clairvoyance on Rhoda here once our Gamma Burst runs out here in a second, and just like that, we can fly through him. And we weren't even hitting crits, we were just relying on Megavore for all those. And it was still super easy to get him to his immune phase. Otherwise, we're going to kill off these War Dogs and then pull out the Unseen Threat and just almost one-tap these guys. I think that shot went through him. That was a little strange. Not sure how that ended up happening. It really helps when you hit your crits. Otherwise, I'm going to pull out Clairvoyance and finish him off. Alright guys, my game decided to crash again after I finished killing the Valkyries, so I am here in Sanctuary again, and that's going to have to wrap it up for this video. I've tried to re-record it a couple times now, and I keep crashing during the Valkyrie fight, and it's very annoying. But otherwise, if you guys enjoyed this build video, make sure to leave a thumbs up on it to let me know. It really helps me out. If you guys want to see more build videos or Borderlands 3 content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, come check me out over on Twitch. We've been having a ton of fun lately. A lot of you guys have actually been coming over lately, and it's been awesome. So hopefully I will see even more of you soon. But for now, I will catch you guys in the next video. See ya.